Well, hello, everybody. Thanks, Gabriel. Here we are. This is the Argentina segment in this tour around the world, uh, streaming from every possible time zone around the world. Thank you so much for this opportunity. And what I wanted to share with you is something that's been on my mind since we started thinking about this project, which is in the view of the recent pandemic. I've been asking myself, and I couldn't shake this question off my head, like, how does school teach us for the unknown? How can we, in a way, address the fact that these things happen? And what are the skills and tool sets that we're equipping our children with, or the future generations? How are we addressing these things that we don't know and we don't know how to fix while we study or while we teach the young? And I want to share some bits about Argentina as a region and as a country. As a region, Latin America has a lot of challenges in general, and Argentina has a specific challenge because we are one of the very few countries in the world that have no articulation between school and university. What does that mean? It means that there is no exam, there is no motivation for students to finish high school with a certain average or with a certain performance. They can access university with whatever average they finish school with. The thing is that this is also something that has been eroding our system for the past 50 years. We had historically being one of the most literate countries in Latin America, and we have slowly lost our traction there. And nowadays we host, well, we don't, I mean, we wouldn't like to, but we have over 50% dropout in high school students. That means that out of 10 young people that we encounter in a country, 5 to 6 of them have not finished high school. This is certainly unbelievable in today's world, and is something that should worry and be in our heads at every possible moment. So I was wondering if the shift in the paradigm in education, right? In the last 15 to 20 years, we have understood that the traditional way of teaching is no longer useful, but we are also getting feedback, and this feedback comes from these dropout students. In a very specific context where they have no motivation to keep being at school, these kids are leaving, and somehow we fail to address that with better and renovated programs. And what I have tried to do today is bring people from all different walks of life, and this is specifically addressing their points of view. So usually when we talk about education, we focus on the people who are doing, designing, and being the main characters of education. We usually have talks with administrators and teachers and learning designers. And the community that holds a learning community is made up of a lot more people, specifically students, parents, former teachers, administrators, yes, learning designers, yes, but also entrepreneurs, former students who have gone through the system and now are roaming the world and are thinking how they can fix these things that they have seen as students. And now that they are out in the world, they try to give back to school. And schools, in a way, sometimes reject these efforts. Sometimes these efforts are done on the side, alongside schools. Well, this is like the forest in which we find ourselves today. Also, I would like to address the fact that we live today in tension between technology, a technologically driven world, and also a world that is aching for healing. So we need to think about our own planet at the very core, right? The very substrate and matter of our planet is at stake. So these two tensions seem to be taking place at the same time. And that's why I have chosen for this very nice hour, I have chosen to have three very separate points of view. On the one hand, Ezequiel, and I'm going to share some of Ezequiel's information, and I'm going to share with you on a screen so that I find myself supported by an image. So this is me introducing the country, and now we're having Ezequiel as a project builder. He comes from the outside, or the alongside version. He has been working with schools as an entrepreneur. He has done everything in his power to address young people and how to create an impact on young people and how they can address their impact in communities, in their surrounding communities. Then I have gathered a very special crowd from all possible points of view that we are going to try and see how we can answer this question. How does school teach us for the unknown? How can we prepare? How can we deal better with the unknown? And then on the other side of this tension, we've got Fundación Agroecológica Iguazú, devoted to regeneration, devoted to thinking how to regenerate relationships, regenerate understanding, asking for forgiveness, and to see how can we move forward to improve our planet and being better ancestors than the ones we are being right now. So I'm going to introduce Ese. These are his own words, and he is going to share with us a bit of his own thinking and a bit of his own point of view. So I'm going to stop sharing and get the word out to Ese. Ese, be very welcome to this space. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Pau, for that intro. Well, I'll be sharing screen. Recent, it's here. I'll make an experiment about this. So let's hope it's going to work okay. Look, I'm here. Okay. Are you seeing okay? Perfect. Well, we are going to talk about the school, the known, and the internet. Yes, there are some industries that I am working and I am like really interested, and one is education, and the other is the power of the internet. So we have a well-known matrix that it's what we know and what we don't know, and on the other side, what we are aware of and what we are not aware of. Sorry, I will move from here. So on the first scenario, we have things that we are aware of and we understand. That's what we know, or what we know that we know. The other one, it's things that we understand, what we are not aware of. Then things that we are aware of, but we don't understand. And the last one that we are going to focus on, it's the things that we are neither aware of nor understand. So here we will focus. And what excites me, it's like the school and different companies don't know how to like serve this scenario. But some, we are like, here we have like a lot of books, a lot of podcasts, a lot of leaders, a lot of influencers that can give us some like sneak peeks of what's going on here in this universe, unknown universe. And as Pau says in the introduction, um, how can schools can turn this like 310 into a great opportunity. Like it's like an anti-fragile situation that in my opinion can turn the schools into a great place to spend the time. So, but we have two things, like we have two things different, like in different topics. One, it's like the agenda of what we're going to talk here. One is the ownership, the other is the community learning, and then it's a bias, a survivorship bias. Yes. So why the ownership is so important here? Because if the kids or the people in general own their path, they will have like a non-stop willingness to understand, to learn, to fail, to create projects inside the schools, and the teachers as a great leaders of that that spaces. So in my opinion, this ownership of this path will take the kids or the teenagers with a more engagement of the topic or the project that they are inside the schools, and there will be like ambassadors of the schools outside the schools and inside the schools. So this will turn into kids with their own voices, just like shouting in different places that the school is the best place to be. It's like turning as we said in a few minutes before, like turning a great 310 of what school is today into a great opportunity of what can the school could be. Actually, I am working in two different industries. One is like education, and the other is Web3. It's like an evolution of internet. And my passion is to mix both of these industries. But how can we mix these industries? I think we have a lot to learn from different voices. Yeah. Actually, we are making the same dynamics inside schools and inside companies. Which dynamic? It's called Projecton. It's like a hackathon, but with the output, it's like a project that their own kids or their own managers of a company can co-create and make like decisions about what they are strongly believing. We have worked this with schools in Latin America, and we have worked this with huge companies from Argentina, like Arcor or different companies that they're willing to learn what they don't know that they don't know. So it's like a dynamic that it's like you can use it in different contexts in a way to say it. And what is community learning? It's a way of learning like theoretical things where the knowledge is shared. For example, if we are in a team with Pau and Manu and different people here, I can learn a lot about what they know. Like how it knows a lot about physics, I will learn a lot about physics. But also, if Manu, it's a crack, like understanding how to learn, I will learn the way of learning of Manu. But also, we will have a group where we have different responsibilities and we will share that responsibilities. So I strongly believe that the community learning will be a key to schools to share or to learn that unknown stuff. Also, the community learning, it's like an interest-based learning. Each person of the community or the classroom will have a different interests, and each one could own their path and share to all the classroom what this person has like learned. Also, it's project-based learning. Not always the outcome of community learning. It's a project, but it can be like a paper of something like super technical, and And of course, it's like a learning by the movement, by doing, in a sense to say it. And this, it's a well-known picture of the U.S. Army, like the Air Force in the World War II. It's a picture of the bullets, like the holes of the bullets that all the planes that were landing, like returning from the war to the stations, and they were making some decisions about how to enforce the weak parts, like for instance this wing or the core of the plane. But something interesting here, it's that in the engines or in the core or where the pilot was like piloting this plane, has no holes. So the question is why? So that holes, that's damage of the engines of the pilot, were the planes that weren't returning to the bases, to the stations. So this is called a survivorship bias, that we just known which are the planes that are returning to the base. But as like in a parallelism to education, we are just like analyzing the people who are staying in the system. We are not knowing what's going on that people, on that person, or that kids, like pauses in the introduction, that are not returning to the schools. So I think we have like a point here to create some knowledge together. So, okay, but how does school teach for the unknown? I have some like quotes that we can discuss later. In my opinion, I think we have to transition for a content-based curriculum or information-based curriculum to a skill-based or a learning-to-learn curriculum. Also, I strongly believe that we have to also migrate to just full of logical thinking to a curriculum full of emotional intelligence, because we have to like surf in the uncertainty. So if we don't have skills to move on from failure or from frustration, I think we have to understand how to live with this information that is missing today. So that's a part of what we were thinking, like discussing. I think we need more leaders inside schools, like entrepreneurs, different scientists or different leaders inside schools, and more teachers inside the organizations. So that was kind of.
Thanks, Eze. I have a lot of questions, and I think I also have a comment on what you were presenting, and this has to do with something I was reading yesterday. There's an author who has been studying social learning called Alan Schoenfeld, and he made me think again in something which is very something that I struggled with, and I think we all struggle with at schools. He said, he points the fact that at schools we think that what we have done is massify education. So we have a lot of individuals at the same time learning. And in that way, we have optimized time and the delivery of instruction. But what he points out is that we fail to see that there is social learning, and that social learning is exactly what you were pointing out. The fact that we learn from others that learn differently. We have the ability to see how others are thinking and to point out our differences in that direction. And I think that we as schools, whenever we feel like we need to address the personalized approach or that idea of smaller groups of students per teacher, we are in fact not addressing this social learning. And I think that project-based work and communities and learning communities that bring people from different ages and from different walks of life into one project, I think that they can harness that energy of social learning and make it better. Can you tell us about some of the projects that you have done with students? A project that has blown your mind in this way, in seeing how they can learn from each other?
Yeah, look, actually last month we have worked with a group of kids that they were from different orientations. They were like from design and constructions, just in a way to say it. They were telling that they felt like suffocated, that they felt intoxicated, like full of information, full of screens, full of like stimulation. They said that they need a place in school where they could calm down the brain, like to stop like being so stimulated. And then they designed a blinded, like how do you say blindado, like where signal,
like a bulletproof or soundproof?
Yeah, like soundproof, bulletproof, but Wi-Fi proof, 5G proof, where they have like a playroom full of books, full of chess, full of drawing stuff. So there was like a calm place, and they design it, like render it, they model it, and they present how that place could be like a place where they would love to be like a few minutes a day, like just to chat, just to have a great conversations with teachers, just to go there and meditate, like a blinded space, but from the routine and from the stimulation. Then they create, for example, well, there were a lot of projects in that way. But that was a co-creation. That was what blew my mind, because I never was able to create that space in schools. But what was interesting was like they create a brand to export to other schools, that space. I will show it to you later.
That's amazing. And amazing that the fact that they thought about others, right? So that they could think of themselves and also how to export that idea to others, which is sometimes we fail when we do project-based work. What we do is we sort of mimic the idea of real world ideas, but then we keep them inside the classroom. So we do as if we pretend these things are real, but they're not. And sometimes we have a challenge there to see how to shift from the work we pretend to do to real work outside in the community. So thank you, Ese. Please be part of the next segment, because so what we're going to be doing now is we're going to be listening to points of view. I'm going to share this again with you for a second. So this has been Ese, and what we're doing now is we're going to take some time to listen to wherever we are in our roles as entrepreneurs, former students, learning designers, school administrators, parents, teachers. So I'm going to ask people that are sharing the Zoom with me if they can insert beside their name the role or the point of view they're going to be addressing now. Say, if you're students, if you're doing a master's degree, if you are developing technology, if you are doing something that has to do with the economics of education, are you part of the building this as an economic system? And while you do that, I'm going to call on the students first to see what ideas do you have on what Ese was bringing, and also do you have a project or something that you would like to talk about that has led you to be closer to the real world? Have you had experience with this? Or you can react to anything. You can react also to the idea of having a bulletproof room in silence within the school. They're conferring. So students are seeing. Let's go to you. What do you have to say?
There we go. There. Good. Right. No, personally, I believe that how we get to the unknown, right? Sorry, apologies. Just resurfacing. Great. Yes, thank you. Well, really, I think a lot about a quote by Jean-Paul Sartre, who says that man is nothing else than what he does with himself, really. And I believe that sort of in our at least individual scenarios here at school, I think that we are given the tools to go look for the unknown, essentially. I don't think that the unknown, well, sometimes it might present itself as the apple fell on Newton's head, supposedly, and there sort of the unknown was sort of, it sprung into being. But for us, I think that in today's day and age, in a little moment where we're so saturated by information, I think we have to look for the unknown. And I certainly think that school in today's scenarios not only prepares us to tackle the unknown with critical thinking and sort of wondering on the certain scenarios, the certain milieux in which, well, the unknown is given, but certainly how to find it per se. I mean, we're in a big area of, say, computation, of smart technology, and really, I think that it is up to us to analyze what we have been given in this day and age to really find that. I believe, well, I don't know, that's how I feel. I don't know how my peers feel, but
Greg, can you give us an example of you reaching out to the unknown from your own perspective?
Yes, personally, I find I'm very interested by the thought of human consciousness, and really that's something that's been an unknown to us for our entire existence, really. And I think that we reach closer to it in that we've reached closer to it indirectly while we've analyzed, say, the consciousness of, well, the technology that we've thankfully been given, say, AI, and seeing how it reacts when, say, programmed to do something, to speak, to generate an image. We see how AI thinks, and really we can possibly reflect it with our own ways of thinking. So there is where we sort of have the unknown. How do we look at consciousness? Is, we certainly are biological beings. We're not made of mechanical matter, but certainly, I mean, we can analyze it from that point of view. It's sort of, at least, I don't know, that's the example that I can think of now, but I'm obviously a little nervous with with the whole live feed.
Don't worry. That's an amazing example. The other day I started, and I hold myself accountable. I started a tiny debate on an Instagram post. An artist posted an image generated by AI and said, "This is the end of digital illustration. DALL-E is taking over." And of course, I jumped into the comment section saying, wow, like, "Hey, no, DALL-E is not taking over creativity and it's not taking over human ingenuity." And that sparked a huge controversy. And it made me think about my own assumptions. And it also exposed what we understand collectively as what creativity means and what does technical ability mean. It's kind of a messy scenario, and I like that you brought consciousness into this.
Yes,
it's very
a lot of things to consider in that regard with the painting. Recently, we've been here at school, in one of our subjects called Talk Theory of Knowledge, we looked at sort of AI life, and we saw how an AI created lyrics for a Eurovision song, which was very interesting. But the lyrics were very humane. They were very humane, possibly from taking samples of songs that already exist and whatever not. But there was a line that stuck with me that the AI would repeat as sort of the bridge to the chorus, which was, "There's no life in your life without misery," something like that. But it stuck with me because it really made me think, we as humans, we take in this information such as the AI does to process that information. and the AI does the same. So really, again, it really makes us think about how, if we're really that apart, if we're really that far away, and possibly if we're ever get to an equal AI consciousness to a human person, it's very, 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 very multifaceted.
Well, thank you for opening a bit of your quest into the unknown to us. And I'm going to shift to any of the people beside you. Do they want to reach out and say something?
Yes. I think that our school has lots of projects that helps us to look and to like promote our curiosity for the unknown. And I wanted to like share one of my favorite projects that we do each year with a community service. And that project is that each year we go to Santiago del Estero, a province here in Argentina, and we do stuff with an association that helps people there in the town. In the town, we usually go to the town Añatuya, and we're with the association Haciendo Camino. This year, we remodeled a house, an entire house. We painted it. We built I don't know how to say it in English. Un hornabarro. An oven, but like a mud oven. I don't know how to say it in English. But we built an oven, and we made. When we got there, we didn't know how to revoke a house, how to paint inside and outside. There's different things for everything, and for each place in there. So we also had we were also helping kids. So our school gave us the opportunity not only to prepare throughout the year, but also to when we got there to learn how to do things that we didn't know we were going to do when we were there. So we went into lots of unknowns, and as a team, we learned by doing, as Ezequiel said before. And I think that's an amazing thing that our school gives us.
Amazing, and a great example also of a real life project that lets you step into the unknown, as you were correctly identifying it. You can prepare and prepare, and you might not have seen it because you were not awake, but sometime before this Argentina hour, I was watching the Romania hour, and the school there at Romania was explaining how they had devised their curriculum. They had also embedded expeditions into their curriculum. So in a way, these expeditions also involve going into and out to the world, but also refer to exploring things that they don't know about together with the teachers. So they have thought about this idea of going into the unknown right in the regular daily activities of the school. And I find that very encouraging and very inspiring for all of us, because it's not something big that we need to think of, well, how do we spend money? How do we get our resources? How do we get the parents to agree? How do we get the government? It's just it's calling it an expedition and just giving ourselves permission to explore the unknown.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go.
And we were thinking with the group that we did the trip, how we don't need to go to another province of Argentina to look at this unknown and this are the reality that we don't get to live. You can do like an hour or less with your car, and you will get different realities. And you can do projects with very little, and I think that's something that students need to know, that you can start with nothing, something very big.
Great. I'm going to let you rest for a minute so that the other two can think. And I'm going to call on parents. There's a lot of parents here, or former students and former students. You fulfill a lot of roles. Do any of you want to say something or feel the need to say? Sophie, there you go. Sophie needs to speak.
Hello, I'm Sofia. I will speak about on two of my roles, one of as a mother and another as a teacher. First of all, as a mother, and I think we have a great responsibility to teach the unknown, or show or present situations where our sons and daughters can learn from, such as, I don't know, teach them or give them the opportunity to be in the kitchen and be able to prepare their own food. Something as simple as that can give them many social skills, many, they feel fulfilled, they feel that they can master something, and that's great for their personality. So their survival skills, they know how to survive. They know how to make their bed. I don't know if it's very important, but they get to know to wash their dishes or whatever their age is. That is really important. So that not everything is the school's responsibility. Provide them with different experiences, or, I don't know, watching nature or whatever. And there's where my other role comes in. As from this year, I teach in a school. I teach kindergarten and primary students, but I don't feel that I teach as a subject, but I open doors. In a sense, I normally go with students to a kitchen garden and show them how to. The idea was to prepare for a space for them to be able to sow their own vegetables and flowers or whatever. But I think it's they've been shown into something that is really unknown for them. I think every single day we learn something, and there are many things that are unknown. So that's where the bias that Ezequiel was talking. We don't need to be doing a project on how to go to Mars. Just watching a ladybug on a flower can give us a whole world and foster their curiosity. So I think every day, everyone can be, a teacher and an eye opener for kids. That's what I
Amazing.
say.
Thank you, Sophie. Oh, the other Sophie. You have to unmute yourself. You can do it.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Sophia, number 2. I'm speaking as a parent. First, I wanted to say I'm really amazed about what the children have spoken. I feel they covered like many aspects, like a more theoretical thinking, and then like hands-on, which I think in our country, in Argentina specifically, is so important for us. Our context locally is very, very important to like live it. Our country is very uneven, and it is difficult to show our kids different realities. So I am very, very amazed of the projects that they do, that are really hands-on, that they can see, they can feel, they can touch. And I think that is, I am really amazed. And as a parent, I was, in my mind, I was thinking about one part of Ezequiel's exposition. I think we all agree, or most of us agree, that this, how do you say, community learning is very, very important globally. And I think as a parents, our role is to try to fill a gap that I think there is between a teenager. I'm a mom of a teenager and two others, but more the teenager is is of the years of the kids that are in the Zoom. There is a gap between when the kids are starting to know who they are, like their ownership, the part that Ezequiel spoke about, their ownership, their path, and the community learning. I feel that when kids do not know who they are, or they don't know what their interests or where to go, that is a conspiracy against community learning, because it is very difficult for them to open their points of view, to feel free, to speak, to show what they know. And that tends for them to like close, not to open. And for us, parents, I think we have a very big desafío. The word will come in English. For us as parents, to try to help them have self-confidence, believe in their instincts, believe in themselves, try to know that that being different and unique is the best gift we have as human beings, and everything that they feel is important. And if they have their self-confidence and believe in their dreams, in their interests, and all of that will be very important, and that will allow them to give a lot in the community learning. And as parents, I think that is where we can help them a lot. And then if we help them to be self-confident and believe in themselves, they will open themselves to this community learning. That is, I think, one of the most important changes I see in the world and in education. That from when I was a kid and I went to school, that now we didn't have community learning. We learned everybody like one person. So, bueno, that is what I think we as parents have to help.
Thank you, Sophie. And now, before listening to other points of view, I need to check if Flor is going to be part of presenting the last part of our. You need to get that computer closer to Flor. She's at school right now. She's also a parent and a teacher, a consultant, a learning designer, and also she is directing the foundation that I want to share with you. So what we're going to do is we're going to have a 12-minute talk with Flor, and then if you have any closing remarks, I will open the mic very briefly, because this is 1 hour and we need to show that we can count seconds and minutes. So I'm going to share the screen first so that I let Flor get settled for a second there. So she is the co-director and strategic ecosystemic designer at Fundación Agroecológica Iguazú. She's also a historian, which gives her a very nice lens to look at things. I am usually the one who breaks stuff because I am future oriented, and I do love and enjoy working with Flor because she pushes me back into ancestry and why are we here? Who let us be here first? We do not own the present by ourselves. We share it with everybody who has built the present with us. She has taught me that, and she keeps teaching me that because I keep forgetting about it. And she has also developed her own way of making sense of the world, which is also something that I'm learning besides her, which is not only learning, is making sense. how do we go from understanding to making sense? So Flor, if you want, we can keep sharing screen, but if not, we can meet for a second here, and then you let me know.
I'm changing my point of view so I can see all of you in the wall. Today is a very special day because today I'm at Santino's school and it's his last day of school. So basically I'm back to the ground where we all been. It's amazing to have that feeling of coming back to the roots of where we came from, no? Or our learning process came from. And I want to start this by sharing something that I've heard from Nora Bateson. She's a great thinker, a great philosopher. She's the granddaughter of Gregory Bateson, and she's the 4th generation of a thinking tank family. And it's great to see the golden thread that keeps on with the same quest that have started like in the 1800s when his grandfather started this type of thought. And she's got something, she says that when she talks about regenerative economies, she says, why do we go to the market? We go to the market to buy bread, or we go to the market and we buy bread. Same thing with the school. Do we come to the school to learn, or we come to the school and we learn? The school is so much more than the contents that we received. No? The school speaks by itself. And this is something that at the Fundación where I work, we've got really deep inside, very embodied, that has to do with the place, with the context. No? We developed a place-based education. And Paula's sharing, but this is a really nice book about place-based education. Now we've got two, I'm a historian, so I work with these two lenses. One lens is the present, it's the place where you are based. And that place speaks a lot, it makes you present in this context. Now we are in Olivos, in the Delta, it's humid, but I've just been in the jungle yesterday and I'm flying back to the jungle in a couple of hours. So one of our really deep values have to do with context, with the place-based education. And the other one is time, no? This long-term commitment. That's why this book and these questions takes us to that place of what kind of ancestors do we want to be? And here's where I've got a lot of, I'm a very eclectic person and I've got a lot of interests, but here is where both interests get together. No? I'm in the regenerative movement, trying to expand our consciousness regarding our world, our nature, our planet, and at the same time, I'm in the education development. And that's where they join. And Paula wanted me to share what does regeneration has to do with education, no? Because sometimes regeneration looks as if it would be the next word we're using to replace sustainability. And regeneration has to do, it starts within ourselves. It starts inside. It's a movement that is within ourselves. And there's another beautiful book. I'm very analogic. So you see that I brought all my stuff. I'm like Mary Poppins. I move around full of boxes, things and things. This is an amazing book. It's from Daniel Wall. He lives in Mallorca, so he speaks really good Spanish, but he speaks very good English and very good German. And this is the Bible for regeneration. And here there are a lot of incredible frameworks that can be used in any area we work. And one of the frameworks he works with are the nested systems. And he says that local, regional, and global should be all combined because they're fractals of the same movement in different proportions. And what I do is that I like always to intervene things and put them our own perspective. And I believe that before local, it's our own personal square meter. It's what makes us vibrant. It what motivates us. It's what makes us be who we are and follow our heart and our intuition and our truth. And when you speak that personal groundness and you're really within yourself, you're just transcending to the universal. No? So that's what I love about the classroom and being a teacher and being a mother and doing those little simple acts that you just know that you are doing and that magical moments, because they are so personal and so intimate, but at the same time, they're just universal. They speak the human language. And that's where I believe education and regeneration have so much to do. Regeneration starts within ourselves, when we are connected with ourselves, and we can expand that, and that consciousness can go through the different concentric circles of people, of actions. And before going with these images, Paula, would you like to just like come forward with some questions or some, because that's how we've got a random, our chat, it's called random conversation, and we just randomly talk to each other and bring these type of ideas.
We do skip from one topic to the other. We need to be very mindful of time here. So we still have 9 minutes to ourselves. And I would like to see if anybody here, because this is a point of view thing. And I want to see if any of the people who have been sharing this hour with us, and I see that Maria here has unmuted herself, so she might share some of her ideas, and then if anybody else wants, you jump in, and then we close with Flor, and we give back the hour to LA, who's already waiting for us.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Flor. I mean, I connected when Flor mentioned the unknown. I mean, we always speak about the unknown as being the future, but in Flor's case, it's the past. No, and where we come from, where our ancestors are, or where we are going to be the ancestors of the future generations. So for me, the unknown is part of our everyday life. It was not part of my student life, definitely, yes, because when I went to school, I studied from books, and that was it. And it was the knowledge was inside those buildings. Now I think that this has broadened up, and we have to open up our minds to the past and to the future and prepare our students with what Ezequiel was saying, with all the skills that they need to face whatever may come in their lives. That's it.
Thank you. Any other brave soul before we go back to Flora and we close? Sole.
Yes, hello, good morning to everyone. I think I can talk from my own experience to say that, well, I graduated in the mid-90s, so you can guess how old I am. But I remember a time when I was like 12 or 13 years old, and I was really good at math, and I loved it. It was like a game for me. So I asked my teacher, listen, this is lovely. I mean, it's very easy to do. So tell me, what's the meaning of this? How am I going to do? I mean, my future, how is this helpful for me in the practical life? And the teacher was like, what is she asking me? You know, like she was frozen. And she said, like, listen, Soledad, this is useful for you to change courses, to be able to graduate this course. And I was left like that, you know, it was like, okay, so I have to keep doing this, not knowing what's the very meaning of it. And what I feel right now with my kids being 17 and 14 years old, they are both in a different era, completely different. The way they educate right now, I don't know if we are in a very special school also in Argentina. The school, it allows them to ask, to intervene, to defy. And I mean, for me, it's like education has grown so much from my days. that I'm listening to all of you. Just being here in a 24 hours education process is like, wow, you know, it's really, I'm amazed. Thank you for letting me participate in this.
Thank you, Sole. And I'm going to use that very phrase that you used at the end to go on with my conversation with Flor. Flor is a parent and a teacher, but right now she's at the school where her kid goes. So, I mean, it would have been quite impossible for a parent to access a computer within the school of their kids to be part of a call, right? I mean, it's just, it's something to note. I mean, something to be aware of, that right now we can we are moving towards some idea of an open school where we can share the working space with students. Not quite there yet, but we might get and there you go, a new picture where we can share the space and we can all see, I mean, what we can talk about and things that we're all interested about. So Flor, back to you, if you want to have some remarks to close, and then we'll move to Miami. I'm sorry, I made a mistake. Oh, you need to unmute.
Mute. There are two things I'd like to share. One is another framework, just to let you think about it and let it sit, which is the Three Horizons framework. It's been developed by Bill Sharp in Palo Alto, California. And these three horizons, it's interesting because what it provides us is the present moment where we are planning our future. And we usually have a very linear way of thinking our strategies. We say, okay, first we solve what is needed, the basic needs. Then we'll go to, and we never get to the third part in which we enjoy and we have fun and we celebrate. So in this, with this perspective, it helps us to build the future at the same time while we are doing business as usual. That would be the red one, the red line, which would be, we still need, while we change the world, we still need to pay bills, we still need to drive our cars, and maybe they are diesel and naphtha. We can't choose that for the moment, but we can start changing and we can start innovating in our next horizon, the blue one. And we can do innovative disruptions that we don't know, we're not sure if they're the ones the world needs, but we are trying to make things differently. And then there's the third horizon, the green one, which we are thinking and dreaming about that viable future. And the tricky part here is that we need to do those three things at the same time. So a personal invitation is to check our agendas and find a spot and just move things from our slotted life in order to have time for that third horizon to arise. If we don't make time nor the space, it's very hard to allow that opportunity of innovation and creativity to occur. And then I invite you to go through this. It's all open source, so you'll find it everywhere, and it's really interesting. It's a really good framework to design. And in order to close, I would like to invite you to do this very short experience that I've learned from someone, from an elder, that it's called the 200 present. So we'll go through a short experience of 200 years in this right moment. So I invite you to close your eyes if you like, or just be within yourself. You're here, you are where you are, just pay attention to where you are in this moment. And I want you to connect to the youngest member of your family. It can be a daughter, a son, a nephew, a friend. And remember the moment you were holding him. You are holding a baby. Just remember the youngest baby you hold in the shortest time possible. So there we are smiling to this baby who's someone's babies, it can be our baby, but we are holding a baby. And we look this baby to its size, we put him down or give it back to his mother if it's from her mother, and we come back to this present. And here we are again in this context. We've just been with a baby, the youngest person we know. And now I invite you to go back into your story, into history, and remember when you were held as the youngest you can remember by the oldest person in your family. So maybe you remember being held by your grandfather, by your grandmother, but a really good friend of your parents. But you're a baby and you're being held by someone who's older than you. Now we can come back to this present moment, and with our arms wide open, thinking of that baby and thinking on that elder, we are embracing 200 years of history. So every single moment in our life, we are walking with 200 years of history in our souls, and which are embracing us. So that's the span, and it's, of course, it's much more than that, but that's what we can daily connect to. The time we are embracing every time we move in this present. So thank you very much for sharing.
Thank you, Flor, for that. Thank you, Ese. Thank you, all of you who have shared this Zoom with me. And thank you for placing yourselves in the present, in the future, and holding with your arms 200 years of history. Thank you, Gabriel, for this opportunity, and I welcome the Cushman School.
Thank you. Thank you, Paola.
Thanks, everybody who participated. It was wonderful. It was great to hear, especially from students. So many memories, so many wonderful memories. I am going to stop the recording and reinitiate it so we separate both segments, but we are staying online